Uh, all right, everyone, how you doing? Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's doing okay. Towards the end of the week, I'm just having a hell of a time right now. My stream wouldn't start because I had, I guess, an update. It was for where's that? An update for NVIDIA required, otherwise it wasn't going to run, which was bizarre. So I had to figure that out. And a daughter who doesn't want to listen ever. Alright, so we're here. We made it. Hallelujah. Hi, freezing on. Happy Thursday. By the gods. So, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing well. I'm stressed, but I'm here. And we're going to do this out of sorts. But we're going to go through some news and see what everyone else is up to today. Yeah, so this, on Monday, I'm going to be going back to work again. Luxie, how you doing? Good evening. How you doing today? I'm stressed out, but I'm stressed out, but I'm doing okay. Got this Smirnoff Ice screwdriver thing I'm drinking here to help compensate. How about you? And how's the music? Hopefully it's not too loud. Yeah, I've got a... Doing all right. I am dying in the heat of the night. That's why I'm staying up. Oh. Music's all right. Okay, good. If it's too loud, let me know or whatever. Because it was just playing rock, so that's usually the one I worry about the most. The rest of it should be okay. Yeah, heat of the night. I can't sleep that way. Oh my god. If it's over 70, I'm screwed. I can't sleep. So, and my wife is the opposite. She can sleep just fine. She'll be asleep in under 30 seconds, but yeah, I cannot sleep in the heat at all. So I don't envy you. Hopefully you can get some sleep. Hopefully you got a fan or something running. So, oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna give you some hugs here. That would be horrific. In our house growing up, it was definitely hot. I always had a fan running at the very least, but you know that can only do so much. Not a fan. Go out and buy a fan. Do that at the very least if you don't have central air or an air conditioning. Hugs makes things warmer. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. Forgetting my place there. Definitely go out and get a fan. That will help you at least a little bit. Because that's what I had to do growing up, and we definitely didn't have central air in the big house we grew up in. That's something. Maybe you can put like a bowl of ice in front of it too. Maybe that will help to cool down a little bit, although you're adding to the humidity, which may not be a good thing, but depending, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Sucks. I would be grumpy and pissy all day if that is the temperature I had to sleep in. It would make me really, really, really grumpy. Really more grumpy than I already am. I've got a daughter who doesn't listen. I've got capitalism, and then throwing on hot temperatures on top of it. Oh my god, I would be unbearable. We don't have central air currently. We have just a window unit, which does a good job. I mean, it's probably 20 years old, but it's still chunking along. But we have and here it's not so bad temperature-wise. What is it, temperature? It's been in the 50s. Oh, it's 84 outside. It hasn't been too bad here inside, at least. Had the air conditioner going on a little bit here and there, but not too bad. Can you buy a wall unit? You know, those are fucking expensive. Like 400, 500, 600. I've actually considered buying a new one, just to replace our current one, which is older than hell. Something quieter, more efficient. Over 80 all week. Oh, that fucking sucks. It hasn't been too bad here. I mean, it hasn't felt bad at least. I think it's been between the 40s and the 80s. At the day, yeah. Yeah, it's probably in the 60s and 70s here. How you doing, man? Where you been? You've been gone for a while. How's school? Are you done with school? Been worried about you. And Luxie over there is sweating his face off. Can't be. Oh God. Yeah, that I would not. You're in. Where are you at, Luxie? You're in Britain somewhere, aren't you? Or are you Belgium? I can't remember where. It's been a while. How was school? I wish I knew how school was. Wish I could go back to school. So many things I would learn. Her face off. Germany. Okay. So you're probably a slightly bit northern than I am. I have 6 hours to turn in everything. Well, take those 6 hours and turn in everything. You can do it. I believe in you. You're awesome. You are the generation that will save humanity from extinction. So please, be the awesome you. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Is that like one of the last things you told me? You have like 10 hours to turn in everything again? You're just waiting to the last minute? Are you a procrastinator? I was. I was definitely a procrastinator. I'm still a procrastinator. Although, I think if Germany's 40 missing, holy fuck in a box. That's a lot. That's a lot to do in 6 hours. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Let's see. So that's about six assignments an hour. Assuming they take 10 minutes each, you could probably do it. Maybe. Oh, Jesus, dude. Well, good luck. I hope you can get it done, dude. It's good to hear from you. Get your stuff done, and then we'll have the summer to do stuff in. You'll be busy doing kid stuff and all that, but you can do it. I'll give you a hug since Luxie can't handle one right now, because it's hotter than hell there. Hugs. Well, you're probably more stressed than I am. My stream wouldn't start today. My daughter's giving me problems. But school? Yikes. Well, good luck with it, man. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, here it hasn't felt so bad temperature-wise. It's the final countdown. It's a good song. Good song. Europe is good. I have it in my playlist, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, here the temperatures haven't been too bad. I mean, it says it was like 84 here. Well, I don't go outside, but it hasn't been quite so bad. And here it's getting milder, obviously, because of climate change. North doesn't mean everything. The Med is on the same line as northern Florida, or something, and it's a bit hotter in the Med, I believe. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's too bad, dude. That sucks. I mean, here it's been pretty mild. Well, as far as it has been in the past, but it's yeah, I'm sorry that you're struggling so much, because that would just be horrific. Yeah, get a fan or something. You're gonna need it, because if you have to work or whatever, being tired and sweaty and just horrible all day makes everything bad. I feel for you. I just like in the summer, I'll shower twice a day. Once in the morning, and then I'll be showering. Well, one after I go outside. If it's like my work is a block away, if I do anything more than that, I'll be sweating because I've got this really greasy skin. Or just move to Greenland. Oh, that would be something too. That would be something, yeah. Or that, yeah. Just keep moving further and further north. Because climate change will follow you eventually. Eventually. But by the time it does, you'll be just fine. Yeah, and that's some of the we've read a post kind of on that a few months ago, just talking about how the environment the environment is going to keep moving further and further north, and it's going to keep getting more mild here in the center, and it's going to get warmer up in the north and even warmer up down in the south. It's just going to get warmer everywhere. Though us here in, well, kind of our area should have a pretty decent time. Although, like you said, you're near the Mediterranean, which may make things hotter, which is too bad for you. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we could just move to where we want to move? Like, my family and I would love to have us to move to one of the Nordic states. That would be amazing. But the logistics and money and businesses and all that sort of stuff prevents us. Just I hope for moving to Ireland or just something more northern, and by the time I finish school at the uni, at the end, it's gonna be the same climate. Yeah. It won't move quite that fast. But yeah, moving to Ireland would be good. I would love to visit there. I'm sure I've got family there in one form or another there. I prefer the more spring and fall climates, and my wife prefers summer all year long, and it's just terrific. As long as we have AC, it's not so bad. I can go outside when I have to, and that's it. But yeah. Well, maybe after university you can find a job over there and then move. Or Canada, or Ireland, Greenland. That might be something to do. You're young enough that you can do that. Like, we've got roots here. Yoga studios, mortgages. Just thinking about what it would take to move to another country is just yikes. It would be a lot. But either I hope that, or you can get yourself an air conditioner. One or the other. If I'm able to do what I want to work as, being sweaty would be a very bad environment. What is it you want to do? I want to do politics. That's what I want to do. If I didn't have to work for a living, I'd get a lot more done. Biology, maybe neuroscience, but probably something else in biochemistry. Okay. Yeah, being sweaty there wouldn't be good. It'd be interfere with the the sciencing and stuff like that. Where is... I think I dropped it down here. Sounds like fun, though. Neuroscience, studying the brain and crap like that. What was I looking for? Here we go. Yeah, I just put this out. It's not in a post or anything. I threw this in Discord. Something I've been playing with, possibly redoing my infographic on my tension post. What I'm struggling with here is, even in the post itself, is getting sociopathy is an integral part of it. Actually, I've got an update on this. Where is it? Here it is. Getting, like, on my tension post, I want to add a section on sociopathy specifically, but it's hard. I haven't found a way narratively to do it, and I found that me redoing the infographic like this is helping to explain things a little bit better. When we have competition, methods of exchange, it shifts it to individualism versus communalism, and then that's how we get all of the bad things, because competition, sociopathy, exploitation, all that sort of a thing. But I don't know. I don't know. Oh, this should be logged in. It is. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I'm a half an hour late because of the OBS giving me issues, but let's get started here a little bit. If you guys have anything else you want to talk about while we get our going, just throw it in here. We can kind of go from there. This is something I ran into today. Rotating villain. In American democracy, when the majority party has enough votes to pass populist legislation, party leaders designate a scapegoat who will refuse to vote with the party, thereby killing the legislation. The opposition is otherwise inexplicable and typically comes from someone who is safe or not up for re-election. This allows for maximum diffusion of responsibility. Now, we kind of saw this with Kristen Sinema when she voted against $15 minimum wage. This one is specifically talking about what the fuck. Senator Lieberman now opposes the same healthcare compromise he himself suggested. Just when everyone thought Democrats had enough votes to get this done, guess they made Lieberman the rotating villain. So this is the first time I've heard of this concept, and I think I'll probably have to update my my post on lesser of two evils voting to kind of include this very idea, because this is kind of important in the scheme of things. Have any of you heard of this rotating villain sort of a thing? I haven't heard of it directly. Okay, so here we go. I'm on audio only, so I don't know. Oh, okay. I just read it to you. Talking about the rotating villain sort of thing. It's the first time I've really kind of come across the concept of it. Maybe not the first time, maybe the second. So there's this year there's been kind of a talk about this. When Democrats get into power, they have to find some way of preventing progress from happening, and having someone, like they're saying here, vote against it is a good way to do it. Or bringing in the parliamentarian, like they did regarding adding $15 minimum wage to the one bill. Pretty sure that money tastes good. Yeah, you think? Makes a good amount of caviar for everyone. Well, for them at least. It's so messed up. So much rage. There's so much rage bottled up in here. All right, well, here's a little bit of good news. High school valedictorian blast Texas's anti-choice law in graduation speech. This is from today. Texas high school valedictorian's graduation speech garnered attention from Democratic lawmakers and rights advocates Wednesday after going viral on social media. Not for the typical optimism contained in such addresses, but for the student's decision to go off script and speak out against her state's assault on reproductive rights. Sisyphus happy. And then what happened? How you doing? You're talking regarding this? Or regarding what? Or after eating the money? At Lake Highlands High School graduation on Sunday in Dallas, Paxton, In Dallas, Paxton Smith scrapped her valedictory address, which had been approved by school officials, and told her audience it felt wrong to her to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me and millions of other women in the state. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions that take place after 6 weeks of pregnancy, regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest, Smith said, referring to Senate Bill 8, which Governor Greg Abbott, fuck that guy, signed into law last month. In addition to banning abortion care after 6 weeks of pregnancy, at which point many women don't yet know they're pregnant, the law allows any citizen to sue anyone who aids or abets a patient who has an abortion, including clinic employees, friends, or family members who drive the patient to their appointment or providers. That is so fucked in the brain. Texas is full of bottom feeders, but it could be worse. It could be that's we expect bullshit like this from Texas because, you know, it's fucking Texas, but California has this is not, we wouldn't expect this sort of stuff from California, but California is kind of iffy in some ways. I mean, there's still neoliberals there, so you never know what's going to happen. I have hopes. I have dreams, hopes, and ambitions, said Smith. Every girl here does. We have spent our lives working towards our futures, and without our consent or input, our control over our futures has been stripped away from us. I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail me, that if I'm raped, then my hopes and efforts and dreams for myself will no longer be relevant. I hope you can feel how gut-wrenching it is, how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you. Way down south in the land of traitors. You know, I'm torn on that whole thing. I mean, I get it from their standpoint, just from the, well, they're southern. Yeah, I don't get it. It was just, like I said when I was covering it, right? It's just political theater is all it was. Right-wing political theater. It wasn't going to do anything. Nothing of value was going to come of it, and you know, it was just fucking stupid. It really showed the colors of a lot of the, especially Republican policymakers out there, those that aided and abetted, and also the police there that allowed them in, and so on and so forth. It was yeah, the South is it's not a place for freedom. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this. This is her actual speech. It's pretty short. I was hoping it would actually be longer, but let's go ahead and listen to this.
Usually very good at expressing my gratitude for the people that I care about, but I would like to say thank you to Coach. I think he's had a bigger role in my life than he realizes. Okay. As we leave high school, we need to make our voices heard. Today I was going to talk about TV and media and content because it's something that's very important to me. However, under light of recent events, it feels wrong to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me and millions of other women in the state. Recently, the heartbeat bill was passed in Texas. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest. 6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So before they have a chance to decide if they are emotionally, physically, and financially stable enough to carry out a full-term pregnancy, before they have the chance to decide if they can take on the responsibility of bringing another human being into the world, that decision is made for them by a stranger. A decision that will affect the rest of their lives is made by a stranger. I have dreams and hopes and ambitions. Every girl graduating today does. And we have spent our entire lives working towards our future. And without our input and without our consent, our control over that future has been stripped away from us. I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail, I am terrified that if I am raped, then my hopes and aspirations and dreams and efforts for my future will no longer matter. I hope that you can feel how gut-wrenching that is. I hope you can feel how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you. And I'm talking about this today, on a day as important as this. On a day honoring 12 years of hard academic work, on a day where we are all gathered together, on a day where you are most inclined to listen to a voice like mine, a woman's voice, to tell you that this is a problem, and it's a problem that cannot wait. And I cannot give up this platform to promote complacency and peace when there is a war on my body and a war on my rights. A war on the rights of your mothers, a war on the rights of your sisters, a war on the rights of your daughters. We cannot stay silent. Thank you.
There you go. There's the speech. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. All right, that's the thing. All right. So there is that. Now,
hey guys.
If you don't follow, it was originally The Rising from The Hill, and Krystal and Saagar have left The Hill and their Rising program to start their own independent media thing called Breaking Points. It's just last few days or so. If you like some good progressive, actual progressive American viewpoints, this is a great program. Hopefully it will be, because The Rising was amazing. If you want to sign up for them and support them, I did. It's like I threw $10 a month at them just to support them. You can find them on YouTube, which is right here as well. So this is a thing as well. Yeah, I did a lot of watching of them during both elections. Well, this last election, because they've only been on for a few years. And yeah, they got great. Krystal's great. He's great. They've done a lot of great covering of things for politics. All right. So that's a thing. All right, now this is from The Guardian. World must rewild on massive scale to heal nature and climate, says UN. The decade on ecosystem restoration launches with a call for imagination and action never before seen scale. Now, this is basically sort of what my policies call for. Massive rewilding, sustainable energy, and all this other stuff. There has to be a war on climate change in order to save humanity from extinction. Now, this is the UN, again, being vocal about this. Yeah, it's the age of extinction under environment. Mangrove tree seeds are planted in Bali, Indonesia. Mangroves store carbon and protect against flooding, but many forests are severely degraded. We've covered this a little bit. It's great for these southern areas like this. Great for carbon sequestration. The world must rewild and restore an area the size of China to meet commitments on nature and the climate, says the UN. And the revival of ecosystems must be met with the ambition of the space race. I completely agree there. Existing conservation efforts are insufficient to prevent widespread biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse. The global body has warned at the launch of the Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. An urgent call for the large-scale revival of nature in farmlands, forests, and other ecosystems. Governments must deliver on a commitment to restore at least 1 billion hectares, 2.47 billion acres, of land by 2030, and make a similar pledge for the oceans, according to the report by UN Environment Program, UNEP, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, to launch the decade. This sounds very similar to basically what I've been talking about in my policies. We need to rewild a lot of places. We need to have large scale protected areas like the Great Barrier Reefs, the Amazons, and other places like that. And we need to do a lot of restoration in those areas. And we need to plant billions and billions of trees and all sorts of other things. And we need to do it by 2030, just like they're saying here. So UN's pretty much right on the money here, and this is really, really great to see. Humans are using about 1.6 times the resources that nature can sustainably renew every year, and the UN said short-term economic gains are being prioritized over the health of the planet. Of course, because that's the entire point of that's what capitalism does. In my attention post, right, if you have not read that, because I talk about it all the fucking time, when it comes to making a choice, it's always about benefit and profit for the individual, usually short term, or doing what's better for humanity in the natural world. And of course, humanity in the natural world loses to short term immediate gain and profit for you and your tribe. And that's exactly what they're talking about here, and that's exactly what the problem is. So yes, short-term economic gains are being prioritized over the health of the planet. And why is that? And that's because that is what the monetary system rewards. It rewards destroying people, destroying the environment, and you make lots of money off it. And that's what needs to stop. And this is not going to stop until we evolve beyond monetary systems and into a resource-based economy or something like that, where the socioeconomic system itself has a built-in value system which values humanity and the natural world. In my policies, right, I do make an attempt at doing that in my 8 philosophical pillars for peace, right? These are the 8 philosophical pillars are integral to making change. We need that values change because interdependence is the key philosophical pillar, the interdependence of humanity with itself and with the natural world. And this is the lens through which all things should be seen and thought of when you do them. All projects, all building, all business, everything. If it's not seen through the lens of interdependence, it is going to be harmful. The rallying cry calls on all parts of society to take action, including governments, businesses, and citizens, to restore and rewild urban areas, grasslands, savannas, and marine areas. Restoration needs to be seen as an infrastructure investment. We've read an article on that before. In a country's well-being, we need imagination. That's exactly fucking right, said Tim Christopherson, coordinator of the Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. For many people, I think restoring 1 billion hectares is a bit abstract. We have decades of experience of how this could work, but never on the scale we're talking about now. We have space programs and nuclear weapons. It is possible. Half the world's GDP is dependent on nature, and the degradation of ecosystems is affecting about 40% of the world's population already, threatening human health, livelihoods, and food security, according to the foreword written by the UNEP Executive Director Inger Anderson and the FAO Director General Q Donghu. The report notes that while restoration science is in its infancy, agroforestry and other sustainable farming practices are already well understood and can be scaled up. UN has said it will work with governments to highlight flagship restoration projects to inspire the ambition required. Again, so highlighting it is going to be fine, but that's not going to get the governments to do anything. If there's no profit in it, then it's not going to get done. That's just the way it is. If there was, then we wouldn't be in this situation. This kind of large-scale restoration has not been done very often. There are a few examples in China with the Atlantic rainforest in Brazil, but at the scale that we at the scale that we now need it, very few examples exist, said Christopherson. There are investments that sometimes have a similar complexity to large infrastructure projects. Countries have already committed to restoring 1 billion hectares of degraded land, roughly the area of China, according to a study by the Dutch Environmental Assessment Agency. Many of these pledges have been made by countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, China, and South Asia, with relatively few made by Western nations, Russia, and those in the Middle East. Of course, again, it's the the countries that are suffering the most by Western imperialism and economic warfare that are trying to do the work, while those of us who are in rich countries are like, yeah, fuck that. There's no profit in it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And the climate refugees will begin, and then it'll be horrible. But that's okay. We'll be okay for now. Christofferson said more were expected in the next few years to complement initiatives such as the Great Green Wall in Africa, which aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land by 2030 to combat desertification. The report's authors said lessons must be learned from previous mistakes, such as planting monoculture trees and exotic species. And countries need help finding solutions that fit their geography and climate. Even if we feel the science is not mature enough, it should not really stop us from taking action. What you have as a model approach in one ecosystem might not apply in others. So there are many different sorts of ways about it, said Coralie Pretorius, Deputy Director of the UNEP World Conservation Monitoring Center. It depends so much on the local context. This is not only about the environment, it is for people as well. Through safeguarding livelihoods, people give access to nature in urban areas or improving health. In February, a review commissioned by the British government on the effect of human economic activity on life-sustaining ecosystems found development had come at a devastating cost to the natural world. Led by Professor Sir Partha Dasgupta, a Cambridge University economist, it concluded that radical change to production, consumption, finance, and education was needed. Last week, the UN State of Finance for Nature report found the world needs to quadruple its annual investment in nature if the climate, biodiversity, and land degradation crisis are to be tackled by the middle of the century. It highlighted a finance gap of 4.1 trillion that needed to be closed to avoid the breakdown of natural ecosystems services such as clean water, food, and flood protection. Okay, so yeah, and my policies really kind of get into this. Obviously, I don't go that in depth into it, but the very beginning of fixing all of this is cutting our U.S. military budget by 75%, and then use that for climate change, environmental restoration, sustainable energy, and that sort of a thing. And that's exactly the sort of work that we would be doing under my policies. When you look at the Green New Deal, the Green New Deal has like the Civilian Climate Corps or whatever to work towards doing that sort of restoration, and that's what we need to be doing. I mean, the U.S. military, the military itself could be taking their drones out and dropping trees. I mean, there's several projects that are doing that, using drones to drop trees, planes to drop trees. So it can be done fairly quickly, especially using military tech and resources and that sort of a thing. So we can do it, we just have to value it. But unfortunately, especially in the United States, where we have high levels of inequality, caring about the environment doesn't matter. Now, as I do talk my policies as well, another way to help deal with this is to tear down our old cities and build brand new cities, smart cities from the ground up, and build them up. You build high or you build low, earth scrapers, right? And then you also include a lot of greenery inside the building itself, and you make it large, and then the entire outside of it, you reclaim all that land and you rewild it. Now, another part of that, of course, is not just building up and building down, but with the food production, you need to start investing very heavily in vertical farming. That as well will reclaim a lot of our land, as well as reclaim the health of the land as well too, because so much of that monoculture farming just destroys the health of the soil and the way things grow. So yes, definitely needs to be done. Agree 100%. Good stuff in there. I'm not sure if I read this last time. Let me know if I have read this last time. We're being worked to death by capital. All right. So long working hours kill more than 700,000 people per year, even as millions are unable to find enough work to survive. The irrationality of capitalism has a human price. It most certainly does. I recently came across a print with an unwieldy name. It lists. Oh yeah, I read this. We read this last time. Yeah, Monday Hustle. Oh yeah, we read this. All right. Well, it's there again. We won't go over it again. Here we go. So we'll move on to this one. Unless you want me to read it, then I can go over it again. But no. Come back here. Okay, so this one. Airships for city hops could cut flying CO2 emissions by 90%. Now, this is Zeppelins and airships like this keep coming up, and it's always found in science fiction of the future and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to see this here again pop up. So let's see what they have to say. Bedford-based blimp maker unveils short-haul routes such as Liverpool to Belfast that it hopes to serve by 2025. Hybrid air vehicle. Oh, come on. Fucking paywalls. Hybrid Air Vehicles hopes to produce 12 of its Airlander 10 airships a year by 2025, each capable of carrying 100 people on short-haul flights. Looks comfortable. Get a nice view as well. For those fancying a trip from Liverpool to Belfast or Barcelona to the Balearic Islands, but concerned about the carbon footprint of aeroplane travel, a small Bedford-based company is promising a surprising solution: commercial airships. Hybrid Air Vehicles, HAV, which has developed a new environmentally friendly airship 84 years after the Hindenburg disaster, on Wednesday named a string of routes it hoped to serve from 2025. The routes for the 100-passenger Airlander 10 airship include Barcelona to Palma de Mallorca. I've been to Palma de Mallorca. In 4.5 hours, the company said the journey by airship would take roughly the same time as airplane travel once getting to and from the airport was taken into account. It will generate a much smaller carbon footprint. HAV said the CO2 footprint per passenger is on its airship would be about 4.5 kilograms compared to 53 kilograms via jet plane. Other planned routes include Liverpool to Belfast, which would take 5 hours and 20 minutes, Oslo to Stockholm in 6.5 hours, and Seattle to Vancouver in just 4 hours. Okay, wow. HAV, which has in the past attracted funding from Peter Hambro, founder of Russian gold miner Petropavlovsk, and Iron Maiden frontman Bruce Dickinson, said its aircraft was ideally suited to intercity mobility applications like Liverpool to Belfast and Seattle to Vancouver, which Airlander can service with a tiny fraction of the emission of current air options. Tom Grundy, HAV's chief executive, who compares the Airlander to a fast ferry, said this isn't a luxury product, it's a practical solution to challenges posed by the climate crisis. He said that 40% of regional aeroplane flights connect cities that are less than 230 miles apart and emit a huge amount of carbon dioxide doing so. We've got aircraft designed to travel very long distances, going very short distances, when there is actually a better solution, Grundy said. How much longer will we expect to have the luxury of traveling these short distances with such a big carbon footprint? Okay. Makes sense. Grundy said the hybrid electric Airlander 10 could make the same connections with 10% of the carbon footprint from 2025, with even smaller emissions in the future when airships were expected to be all electric powered. It's an early and quick win for the climate, he said, especially when you use this to get over an obstacle like water or hills. HAV said it was in discussions with a number of airlines to operate the routes and expected to announce partnerships and airline customers in the next few months. Okay, cool. Company has already signed a deal to deliver an airship to luxury Swedish travel firm Ocean Sky Cruises, which said it intends to use the craft to offer experimental travel over the North Pole with Arctic explorer Robert Swan. Oh, that'd be cool. Let's take a look at this video. There's no captions on here. Comfy. Got bean bags over there. Look at that. I don't think those are all that practical. Nice bar. Okay, so here we have some cabins. Got a double bed, which is nice. All right. Grundy said the company was in the final stages of settling on a location for its airship production line, which he hoped would be in the UK. He said the company would hire about 500 people directly involved in building the craft, and it would support a further 1,500 jobs in the supply chain. The company currently employs about 70 people, mostly in design, at its offices in Bedford. He said the company aimed to produce about 12 airships a year from 2025. Craft was originally designed as a surveillance vehicle for intelligence missions in Afghanistan. HAV claims independent estimates put the value of the airship market at $50 billion over the next 20 years. It aims to sell 265 of its Airlander craft over that period. $25 million Airlander 10 prototype undertook 6 test flights, some of which ended badly. Crashed in 2016 on its second test flight after a successful 30-minute maiden trip. HAV tweeted at the time, Airlander sustained damage on landing during today's flight. No damage was sustained mid-air or as a result of a telegraph pole as reported. The aircraft, which can take off and land from almost any flat surface, reached heights of 7,000 feet and speeds of up to 50 knots or 57 miles per hour. Okay, pretty slow. During its final test, the company has had the UK government backing and grants from the European Union. Okay, so there you go. Something that might be coming near you in the next few years. Airships. This is about a week ago. I don't know if I want to cover that. Well, let's go over this just a little bit. Now, this I find surprising. For as careful as they are, No one's safe anymore. Japan's Osaka city crumples under COVID-19 onslaught. Okay, this is only a 5-minute read, so we can go through this. So why is this a thing? Hospitals in Japan's second largest city of Osaka are buckling under a huge wave of new coronavirus infections, running out of beds and ventilators as exhausted doctors warn of a system collapse and advised against holding the Olympics this summer. James, how you doing, man? Welcome. How you doing today? Happy Thursday. Are you done with school? I'm going okay. A little stressed today, but not too bad. My stream started late because my computer needed updates and the stream wouldn't start, so I was freaking out there, but I got that done fairly quickly, so I'm doing okay. Just stubbed my toe like a minute ago, but besides that, I'm doing good. Yeah, owie. Hope it feels better. Yeah, stub toes suck a lot. I'm glad you're doing good. Glad you are doing good. Yeah, started like a half an hour late, but we're going through stuff. Talking about Osaka. Yeah, it's been a while. That's okay. It's okay. I'm just, life in general is just stressed out. The child and streaming and stuff. Just life is just stressful. But I'm doing okay. I'm getting by. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm good. Streaming, working, doing stuff. Waiting for summer. I'll be going back to work, actually into work on Monday. At least that's the plan. Now that the daughter is going to be done with school, I've got my shots, so I'll be going in, and I have my own little office, so I can just go in there, wear the mask in, go to my office, close the door, and tell everyone to stay the hell away from me. I think everyone there has their shots as well, so it shouldn't be too bad. But still, with we don't know what the what the infection rate is of people who are infected, or the transmission rates are yet. So that's I want to see those statistics, because that's kind of important, especially because we have a yoga studio and the wife is all over me about opening up again, and we need to know what the results are for that, to know if we can eventually open up, right? A lot of time there's temporary movement of stress, which is exchanged for permanent long-term happiness. Well, I sure the hell hope you're right. Because that would be a good thing. I could definitely use a lot more happiness in my life. Definitely. Everyone could use a lot more happiness because we're living in capitalism. There's always a lot of short-term stress, because that's how the system thrives, sucking the life out of us day after day. Yep, all right. So, yeah, let's see what's happening here in Osaka. I wasn't expecting, okay, this is why, right here. All right, we'll get to this. All right. Japan's western region, home to 9 million people, is suffering the brunt of the fourth wave of the pandemic, accounting for a third of the nation's death toll in May. Wow. Although it constitutes just 7% of its population. The speed at which Osaka's healthcare system was overwhelmed underscores the challenges of hosting a major global sports event in 2 months' time, particularly as only about half of Japan's medical staff have completed inoculations. Yeah, this is fucking insane. If the having the Olympics happen now is fucking stupid. Like, really stupid. This shouldn't be a conversation. It should be, no, we're not having it. Basically, I've been making montage videos on historical and political events, like old footage timed with songs, and I was wondering if you had any suggestions on. Oh, cool. Good for you. That's videos are work. What have you done so far? A big thing that happened recently is the Tulsa riots and bombings that happened. That was a recent thing. There's Pride Month, right? That's a good thing. Got this little bug flying around. Maybe something on death to little bugs flying around in your house bothering you. That'd be a good one. That'd be a very good one. I'm doing good. How you doing? EOIN 27. Interesting name. I'm stressed today, but I'm doing okay. Yeah, I had a late start today because my drivers weren't up to date, so I was freaking out about that. Reading an article on how Japan is struggling under all of that, under COVID. It's Owen. Really? Oh, so that's an Irish name. Okay. Well, that's fucking fancy. You're fancy, dude. I will try to remember that. Owen. Irish for John. Okay. Interesting. I'm James O'Neill. My lineage is from Ireland, but I haven't actually been there. So that's interesting. No, so is that the actual Gaelic pronunciation of Owen then? So it's Pride, Yugoslavia, miners' strike, Soviet Union, Helium Communist, Bulgaria. I didn't even know it was a thing until recently. Okay. So you already had one on Pride, right? Yep. So the Tulsa thing here in the U.S. is probably a fairly big thing. We're not particularly the most fancy people, since English people we're very la-di-da when they okay, that's fair. All right. Their little pinkies all out and stuff. Yeah, all right. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, welcome. We've got at least one person here from Ireland. Is it James? James, is it you, right? Crumpets and tea, yeah. Ugh. I don't do tea. My wife is from Europe. She's from Belarus specifically. And she does, she's big into tea and crumpets and that sort of stuff, but it's not my thing. English, and I have to agree, we were abysmal. Well, right. I mean, the English, and then of course Americans were, one of the I can't say the original, genociders and imperialists, but they're definitely one of the most prolific historically. Yeah, English bad, Americans bad, white people just bad in general. Crumpets and tea. Is that I'm an Irish marker? That's how I was. Okay. British people. Yeah, who was it? I can't remember. There's someone who's from actually Ireland, Northern Ireland. Someone, I don't know. Tyrone. I'm assuming that's not how it's pronounced. It's a good African American name here in the U.S. African American name, yeah. Tyrone. Do you know what? I did? Okay, all right. Woo! History at A level, and I'm studying troubles. Okay. Cool. Studying good. He's been here quite a while. Probably definitely have seen him around somewhere. I need new glasses. Ah, he was just talking about that. Shared the retro wave montage of the Troubles. Yeah, he was just asking for other things that he want to do montages on. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nice. Well, it's good your videos are getting around. That's awesome. All right, let's see what we got here. Simply put, this is a collapse of the medical system, said Yuji Toda, the director of Kendai University Hospital in Osaka. The highly infectious British variant and slipping alertness have led led to this explosive growth in the number of patients. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I've heard. Oh, and I don't think there's one in my video, but definitely. Okay. Okay, so the British variant here is the one that's definitely much more infectious, so that's what they are buckling under. Japan has avoided the large infections suffered by other nations by the fourth pandemic wave, but the fourth pandemic wave took Osaka prefecture by storm with 3,849 new positive tests in the week to Thursday. That represents more than a five-fold jump over the corresponding period 3 months ago. I'm not sure about the vaccines, but right now they've got another wave because the British variant is going in and just infecting people because the British variant is significantly more infectious. I'm really surprised that Japan is having issues with this because they've been so, as an Asian country, they tend to be very careful wearing masks and that sort of thing. So this is rather crazy. So that represents more than a five-fold jump over the corresponding period 3 months ago. Just 14% of the prefecture's 13,770 COVID-19 patients have been hospitalized, leaving the majority to fend for themselves. Tokyo's latest hospitalization rate in comparison, is 37%. I haven't heard anything specifically about their vaccines, if they've made their own vaccines. At a government advisory panel sees rates of less than 25% as a trigger to consider imposition of a state emergency. By Thursday, 96% of 348 hospital beds Osaka reserves for serious virus cases were in use. Since March, 17 people have died from the disease outside the prefecture's hospitals, officials said this month. Yikes. I don't mention the Northern Ireland correspondent. Yes, yeah, the Northern Ireland correspondent. Yep. Never should have bought it, and I always follow the news. Wrote a few articles on the riots. I would be worried in there if their vaccine rates were high and hospital rates low. Yeah, and I don't know what their vaccine rates are. That would be the thing to check. Yeah, this one doesn't cover it. I haven't heard much about Japan at all. I would expect they would be pretty high, but I really have no idea. The variant can make even young people very sick quickly. This is what I originally was going to get the vaccine for another year or two. If still loads of people are in the hospital. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And what got me to push me to take the vaccine, even though I didn't want to this early, is the British variant, B117, which is significantly more infectious and it infects children. I have a daughter, so I'm looking at protecting her. And once seriously ill, patients find it tough to make a recovery, said Toshiaki Minami, director of the Osaka Medical and Pharmaceutical University Hospital. I believe that until now, many young people thought they were invincible, but that can't be the case this time around. Everyone is equally bearing the risk. Minami said a supplier recently told him that stocks of propofol, a key drug used to sedate intubated patients, are running very low, while Toda's hospital is running short on ventilators, vital for severely ill COVID-19 patients. Caring for critically ill patients in the face of infection risk has taken a serious toll on staff, said Satsuki Nakayama, the head of the nursing department at OMPUH. I've got some intensive care unit staff saying they have reached a breaking point, she added. I need to think of personnel change to bring in people from other hospital wings. About 500 doctors and 950 nurses work at OMPUH, which manages 832 beds. 10 of its 16 ICU beds have been dedicated to virus patients 20 of the roughly 140 serious patients taken in by the hospital died in the ICU. Jesus. Yosunori Komatsu, who heads a union of regional government employees, said conditions were dire as well for public health nurses at local health centers, who liaison between patients and medical institutions. Some of them are racking up 100, 150, 200 hours of overtime. Holy crap. That has been going on for a year now when on duty. They sometimes go home at 1 or 2 in the morning and go to bed only to be wakened by a phone call at 3 or 4. Medical professionals with first-hand experience of Osaka's struggle with the pandemic take a negative view on holding the Tokyo Games, set to run from July 23rd to August 8th. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to hold the fucking... This is just stupid. Wait till next year. They're still thinking of holding the Olympics in Tokyo, which is it's just ridiculous. Put it off for a whole nother year at the very least. The Olympics should be stopped because we already have failed to stop the flow of new variants from England, and next might be an inflow of Indian variants, said Akira Takasu, the head of emergency medicine at OMPUH. He's referring to a variant first found in India that the World Health Organization designated as being of concern after initial studies showed it spread more easily. In the Olympics, 70,000 or 80,000 athletes and the people will come to this country from around the world. This may be a trigger for another disaster in the summer. Yeah, you think? You think? He's trying to appease his loyalists, hardcore base, but they know that he had his hands all over the protocol. He's fighting battle. He'll never win. Okay, talking local politics there. So, yeah, what is the Japan's vaccination rate? Okay, hold on. Okay, that's South Korea. Okay, Japan has a vaccination rate of 30%, 3%. Okay, so this is probably why they're having this problem. Their vaccination rate, yeah, that's quite crap, definitely. United States has 41%, Brazil 10%, India 3.2%. Yikes. That's not good. Ah! What just happened? Yeah, that's not good at all. That's going to be a big problem. Like the French, they're just so gone. Okay, won't tolerate any of them. Right, me too. Me too. I expected, yeah, Japan being a rich country would have plenty of people vaccinated, especially with as careful as they are. They wear masks and stuff like that for just like all the time. So this is pretty shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. It is kind of mind-boggling. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I mean, a lot of the Asian countries over there have had to deal with the MERS and the swine flu. It was the other flus too. So they've had the protocol and everything put together, having to deal with these infectious diseases. So I would expect they would be right all over this. So this is not good. I wonder why they don't have. Okay, let's find that out. Why don't they? See why they don't have some people vaccinated. Japan is okay. Okay, this is from the AP. Why Japan has been slow to roll out vaccinations. Let's go and bring this over here. It's a very homophobic and sexist country, but they have plenty of technology that provides strategies and vaccines. Yes, yeah. Their culture could be a problem too. See, when is this from? This is from May 13th. Just a few weeks. Japan's rollout of COVID-19 vaccines began belatedly in mid-February, months behind the United States and many other countries. Officials blame a shortage of Pfizer vaccine from Europe. Okay, so they're dealing with that, and the main culprit in the delay. But 3 months later, with shipments stabilized and officials attempting to accelerate vaccinations, Japan remains one of the world's least protected. They're a big hill to climb, considering much older. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Japan is some of the longest living people. They have a large population of elderly. Yep, true. Officials say there's a critical shortage of trained staff to give shots, despite Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga's pledge to have all eligible people fully vaccinated by the end of September. Some officials say it could take until next year. It will be impossible for Japan to achieve protective herd immunity in the 2 months before the Tokyo Olympics are to begin. It's uncertain whether Japan's already strained healthcare system can treat extra visitors during the games, as it struggles to handle local patients and mass inoculations. Suga's government is facing heavy pressure from a public increasingly frustrated by the slow vaccine rollout and repeated declarations of states of emergency. Many now oppose hosting the Olympics. Yeah, and this is what fiscal conservatism does: lack of public services in times of public crisis. Thus, the public crisis gets worse. Yep, exactly. You defund stuff so that it gets worse, and then you look at privatizing everything. So yeah, and it's just not that they not just getting enough people vaccinated in Japan to help keep problems down for the rollout of the Olympics, but making sure everyone that comes to the country is vaccinated correctly. But even then, we don't know what the stats are on transmission of those people who are vaccinated. We don't have that data. And then there's gonna be people who are gonna come who aren't vaccinated, and like they're talking about the spread of the British variant or the Indian variant is gonna hit, and then it's gonna go like wildfire, and it's gonna be just bad. Make vaccine only zones for people to participate and visit the Olympics. Well, honestly, they shouldn't let anyone in during this time unless they're vaccinated. And they can do lots of things like that. Because like some countries, like some of the Asian countries who had swine flu and MERS and all that sort of stuff, they isolate people for 14 days. Some have done that. Isolate you 14 days before letting you into the country. I mean, they could do that sort of a thing, just to make sure that anyone who did come wouldn't necessarily be infected, but you would know necessarily if they're asymptomatic. Blaming the British for problems they caused themselves. Yep. Why the vaccine delay? The slow start was because Japan requested domestic clinical trials in addition to Pfizer's testing in other countries. Dozens of nations accepted the results of Pfizer's multinational test released in November and began vaccinations. The additional testing in Japan took extra months, though the government then just took 2 months to grant its approval for the vaccine, much faster than the typical 1 year. Oh, and thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Glad you found something of value here. So Japan was going nationalist on vaccines. It doesn't sound like that specifically. It's because they're getting them from Pfizer, and Pfizer took their time getting it to them, and then Japan also wanted to make sure that they did some local testing to see how it went. They don't have their own vaccine, and this just drives me nuts. Yeah, I could see it. I don't know that much about it, but again, what was it? Finland? Finland's government had developed a vaccine like last year in 2019. Or 2019 or 2020, and they were going to open source it, and so they talked to the Pfizer or BioNTech or whoever and said, hey, you can take this and do it, but they said screw you, we want the patent on this so we can make the money off it. That's being wanted to restore the glory of the Imperial Empire. Oh, really? That's some stupid bullshit. It's that sort of bullshit that got them bombed. Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, that's definitely what it sounds like. That'd be super bad. I mean, they passed a law that they weren't going to have any military, following World War II, right? But they've kind of gone back on that just a little bit. Yeah, imperialism That's just bad. That's super bad. When will people ever learn? The vaccine made by Moderna is to be approved later this month after a similar process for use at 2 large-scale inoculation centers in Tokyo and Osaka. Approval for a third AstraZeneca is pending. Oh, well, Asia has typically been conservative. I mean, that's kind of their thing, isn't it? They've always been socially conservative. Japan, coming out of, feudal Japan, very conservative, very tribalistic, right? Then, of course, China. Well, China was a bit, I don't think it was quite so conservative till the rise of socialism, communism there, right? They were fairly open, one of the most advanced, technologically advanced countries in, during those various dynasties. But I think it really started to die during the, well, just like everything else, in the industrial era and the rise of socialism and communism, that sort of stuff. It wasn't like how radical their governments are today. Yeah, and inequality is gonna play a big part in that. Is the higher the inequality is like struggling under the pandemic and everyone not sharing, not open sourcing their vaccines and all that sort of thing. It makes things much worse. People not sharing, people not coming together to try and solve our problems. Decreases trust, increases tribalism, and makes people much more worried and trying to embrace, these people are the problem, so let's go ahead and murder them through imperialism. It's kind of a cycle. The more problems you have, the higher rate that people are going to want to go ahead and murder someone to try and solve the problem, instead of actually looking at the systemic and structural issues which cause the problem. Oh, and Owen, since you're new to the channel, I have my own blog and I have my own policies. Here's my policy site. Here, interstellarnewdeal.global, and here is my blog. I write a lot about, well, politics and stuff like that. And this is a post I quote all the time, my tension within methods of exchange. We're talking about this all the time. So it's a 9-minute read. Super important. All right. Why did Japan ask for more data? People in Japan are often skeptical about foreign-made drugs, especially vaccines, and officials say they need to thoroughly address safety concerns. Pfizer's international tests were conducted from July to November on about 44,000 people in 6 countries, including 2,000 Asians. Japan requested tests on 160 Japanese people, triggering criticism that testing is such a small number added little but delay, which I agree. That's not like a large enough number to really make any statistically significant of a difference. He's basically an O'Neillist. I'm an O'Neillist. What do you mean by O'Neillist? Which O'Neillist, I guess, is the question. Japanese health officials have defended the delay as necessary to build confidence in the vaccine, but Saagar has recently acknowledged a need to adapt rules to cope with the emergency. Why is vaccine confidence low? Japan's mistrust of vaccines is decades old, partly because the side effects have often been played up. In the 1990s, the government scrapped mandatory inoculations after a court ruling held it responsible for side effects linked to several vaccines. We have a vaccine court here in the United States. More recently, Japan stopped recommending the human HPV vaccine after media reports of alleged side effects renewing concerns despite its widespread use overseas as protection against cervical cancer. Yeah, we read something on this a while ago that Japan has like almost no vaccines at all. You have your own ideology and shit. Yeah, I see. You've got your own manifesto longer than Das Kapital. It's not longer than Das Kapital. If only it was. If only I had that much time. Like, Das Kapital is like fucking 600 pages or some shit like that. I mean, it is fucking huge. It is ginormous. And it is, I mean, it's dense. I haven't read it yet, but I want to, but I'm afraid to. Like my policy site is about 200 pages. And my blog, well, that's a whole bunch of other pages there too. I probably have maybe 100 to 200 pages there on capitalism, resource-based economy. So, yeah, I could probably do 300 to 400 pages total. That's not so bad. Okay. I just need more time to write and research. What is Japan's vaccine timeline? Inoculations started in Japan in mid-February, and only about 1% of the population has been fully vaccinated. Less than 1/3 of the 4.8 million prioritized medical workers have received their second shots as of Wednesday. I support starting 6-year-old reading lessons on Das Kapital and Lenin's The State and Revolution. Oh, God. That's, I mean, it's, God, are you saying a 6-year-old start reading that? My God, dude, me looking at the Communist Manifesto, I just reading some of that, I mean, I read academic stuff, and that is super dense. I mean, it's just yikes. It's like how I actually unironically support Alaskan independence. Interesting. Why do you support Alaskan independence? I haven't heard a movement for something like that. I mean, they have oil, which they need to stop doing. I mean, that's primarily, I think that's where a lot of their stuff comes. Well, tourism and oil, right? It'd be hard for them to actually be independent because they're so far north, and it's hard for them to make their own food unless they completely like my policies talk about, completely redesign their infrastructure to be independent. It's just sitting up there on its own, like, oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, well, I don't think they had too much of a choice in that. The U.S. said, hey, we're fucking taking this, so yeah, go fuck yourself. Maybe better for them to join Canada instead of the U.S. Vaccinations for 36 million elderly people began in mid-April, and about 500,000 have received their initial shots. The government aims to finish their second shots by the end of July, at least a month behind the original schedule, but about 15% of municipalities said they still need more time, according to a government survey this week. Health experts and some officials say it may take till next spring for the rest of the population to be vaccinated. If we're declaring Alaska a republic, then we can saw Florida float in the Atlantic. Yeah, Florida is something else. I mean, the South is typically a lower socioeconomic demographic, and because of that, well, makes them stupid, makes them bad decisions, keep voting for Republicans, and Republicans keep fucking them over, and which means everything's even more worse. Therefore, they become more tribalistic and stuff. It's a autocatalytic cycle having Republicans in charge because they keep fucking up everything and blaming it on everyone else except for themselves. And people are too pissed off and poor to even think enough to believe it or to even consider what the truth is. Japan has secured the supply of 344 million doses, enough to cover its entire population through the end of this year. This includes 194 million doses from Pfizer, 120 million from AstraZeneca, and 50 million from Moderna. Vaccine shipments picked up in May, and the health ministry data show that 7 million doses are currently sitting unused in freezers, despite initial concerns of supply shortages. An autonomous no man's land? Sell it to Lockheed? No. Never sell it. So, no, you don't sell it to military. Fuck the military. Fuck, military contractors. Tell you what, give Wyoming to the Native Americans and the indigenous peoples as a part of a reparations thing. I like that better. Dentists are willing to help and are authorized but have not been called upon getting shots from pharmacists at drugstores, as in US, or from volunteers with no medical background other than a brief training, as in Britain, remain unthinkable in Japan. Yes, we need Lockheed Martin, private police force, the state of oh, Jesus. Well, I mean, we've got Elon Musk's SpaceX looking to have its own municipality, so why not them? Lockheed Martin Healthcare, Lockheed City, Lockheed State, in a permanent state of military lockdown. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, yikes. Several Japanese companies and research organizations are developing possible coronavirus vaccines, including some that are being clinically tested. Shionogi and companies said recently it hopes to get its vaccine candidate approved by the end of the year. Takeda Pharmaceutical Company will distribute the Moderna vaccine and produce the Novavax vaccine in Japan, and JCR Pharmaceutical Companies will produce the AstraZeneca vaccine under licensing deal. And it comes within 2 miles if it is airstriked. Or, you know, they'll have a large fence around the whole fucking state. Then they'll have like automated turrets. Woo! Shooting down birds, shooting down drones, shooting down people, you know. And they'll build that wall just like the Trumpers want. And its own Iron Dome. There you go. There you go. Iron Dome to protect it from people. And drones. Yikes. Yikes. Experts say vaccine development is unpopular in Japan because of its risks, the time-consuming process, and lack of government funding. Okay, so there's also this now that the general vaccination rate. I don't want COVID. I want general, because if I remember correctly, Japan doesn't have. She has very few people ever vaccinated for anything. So I've had something on this, and you look at how healthy they are, how long they live, and their general health, and they don't vaccinate. I found that there's an article on this. I don't remember where I saw this, but I can't find it here. So anyhow, so there you go. That's why people aren't vaccinated there in Japan. Which is not good. Hopefully they do put an end to the Olympics there, because that's just gonna be fucking ridiculous. All right, this is from May 7th from Science Alert. Bees have been trained to smell COVID and identify a case within seconds. We've got dogs that can do this, right? Now we've got bees that can do it. Scientists in the Netherlands have trained bees to identify COVID-19 through their sense of smell, according to a press release. I get elected president one day, so hello, fellow yellow Americans. Today I will be singing executive orders to sell Wyoming to Lockheed Martin, float Florida into the ocean, and declare Alaska an independent republic. Stay tuned for tomorrow when I give all of New England back to England. Oh my God. That's pretty funny. You're ambitious. I'll give you that. That would shake some shit up. Everybody would be in arms. We have to sell something to what was it? What was Trump trying to buy? Trump was trying to buy Greenland, right? Maybe we should give Mar-a-Lago to Greenland? Isn't that right, Trump? Is that what it was? Trump by Greenland? Yeah, he wanted to buy Greenland. Buy Greenland, turn it into a tropical resort. There we go. All right. The research was conducted on more than 150 bees in Wageningen University's Bioveterinary Research Laboratory. Scientists trained the bees by giving them a treat, a sugar water solution, every time they were exposed to the scent of a mink infected with COVID-19. Each time the bees were exposed to a non-infected sample, they wouldn't get a reward, a process known as Pavlovian conditioning. Eventually, the bees could identify an infected sample within a few seconds and would stick their tongues out like clockwork to collect the sugar. Bees aren't the first animals to detect COVID-19 by scent. Researchers have also trained dogs to distinguish between positive and negative COVID-19 samples from human saliva or sweat with fairly high levels of accuracy. A small German study found that dogs could identify positive COVID-19 samples 94% of the time, which is crazy. That's because metabolic changes from the coronavirus make an infected person's bodily fluids smell slightly different than those of a non-infected person. But researchers still aren't sure whether animals are the best bet for sniffing out COVID-19 cases outside the lab. No one's saying that they can replace a PCR machine, but they can be very promising. Holger Volk, a veterinary neurologist, told Nature, PCR machines are what lab technicians use to process standard COVID-19 swab tests. At the very least, certain animals could be quite useful for identifying COVID-19 places or countries in which high-tech laboratory equipment is scarce or inaccessible. Also ban speed limits and deploy the Navy to circle the Falklands and create a blockade around the whole island. Not technically invading it. Gotcha. God. You're just kicking the beehive and seeing what the hell's gonna happen, huh? Definitely be an exciting time. Wageningen scientists, for instance, are working on a prototype of a machine that could automatically train multiple bees at once, then uses their skills to test for coronavirus aerosols in the surrounding environment. So this is cool. I study English language and I can't spell technically. Well, you know, it's the typing. Your fingers have a mind of their own. If they don't want to spell it right, they're not going to spell it right. I mean, I have even more issues because of my hands, right? So it's just, my wife just makes fun of me because I go, you know, type, back, type, back. It's pretty frustrating. But, yeah, it is what it is. All right. From Freethink. It's from April. I've had this sitting up here for quite a long time. I had to clear out a bunch of my links today because it just kept sitting there. Bat-inspired sound location tech could allow drones to fly solo. Rolf Mueller took cues from the flying mammals to design a device which pinpoints sound location more accurately than previous tech. Inspired by bats, Virginia Tech professor of mechanical engineering Rolf Mueller has designed one of the best devices for locating the origins of sounds. The bio-inspired design, with a nod from nature and a deep learning AI assists, outperforms current technology and our own human ears. Mueller believes that this tech could one day enable autonomous drones to fly using bat-like echolocation. Sound location comes naturally to humans. You take a notice when you hear a car coming, and thanks to stereo microphones, your ears, both sides of your head, you can probably tell which direction it's coming from. All right, man. Thanks so much for stopping by, enjoying the conversation, and have a great night. Have a great weekend too. Most sound location technology is informed by the human ear, Mueller said, by using receivers like microphones and either collecting multiple sound frequencies or using multiple, quote, ears. Here's the thing though, while our ears work well enough, we are far from tops when it comes to sound location. Bats do it better. Bats are so good at sound location, they can navigate their mid-air environment via echolocation. By regularly emitting ultrasonic calls like that submarine sonar ping you hear in movies and listening for the echoes, bats can determine how close an object is. Bats can even do it with one ear and one signal to pinpoint objects, and that's the ability Mueller was hoping to echo with his device. Mueller and lead author Xiaoyan Yin based their design, published in Nature Machine Intelligence, on the ears of horseshoe and old world leaf-nosed bats. These bats have ears like New York style slices, and that outer shape called the pinna plays an important role in their sound location. We didn't design it, Mueller says via Zoom. We just copied the bat. Biomimetics is an amazing thing. Learn from millions of years of evolution. A bat's ears aren't just passive receivers. They actually transform the sound waves in order to locate objects by manipulating their ears extremely fast, in tenths of a second. Mueller says bats deform the sound waves, creating Doppler effect inside the ear itself. He first noticed these rapid motions because certain bats' ears were always blurry while he was photographing them for research. To better recreate how a bat does its thing, the researchers connected their synthetic bat ear to a string and motor to make it flutter when it received sound, mimicking the bat's ability, albeit much more simplistically. Bats have a bit more than 20 muscles in their ear compared to the human's 4. The muscles are quite fast and can make complex patterns while the bat is listening. Mueller says doing series of motions that look like one-handed voguing to illustrate. Beyond what is currently in the reach of technology, by placing microphone in their synthetic bat ear and wiggling it to create Doppler shifts, Mueller and Yin were able to gather signals that could be used for sound location. But the signals are massively complex. They turn to a deep learning algorithm trained to provide source direction of a sound signal. The researchers tested their system by putting it on top of a rotating rig. Sounds were emitted from various speakers placed around the ear, armed with a laser pointer. The faux bat ear turned to locate the source of the sound, aiming for targets attached to the speakers. In their test, sound location was able to be pinpointed within a half degree. That's far better than human ears, which can locate it within 9 degrees. And the best tech based on them, which has received 7.5 degrees. The capabilities are completely beyond what is currently in the reach of technology, and yet all this is achieved with much less effort, Mueller told Virginia Tech Daily. That he's only broadly duplicated a bat's ability means there may be room yet for improvement, and of course. We're working on a robot with soft robotic actuators, Mueller says, like the kind you find in animatronics. I don't know how far you could go, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could do it by 0.1 degrees. Navigation through sound location. While the potential maritime and military applications for the tech are obvious, a torpedo with a more accurate sonar suite is more likely to hit its target. That is not the end goal Mueller has in mind for his work. Instead, Mueller is inspired by autonomous bots. Exactly. I want to create a drone that flies like a bat, Mueller says, deftly dodging trees and winging through the skies. Okay. So, there you go. I think that's all we're going to do for today. I got a late start. I'm a little frazzled. So if anyone has any last minute questions or thoughts or comments before we go, let's go ahead and, go ahead and do that. Doesn't matter what it is, random or not. And we'll go ahead and call this a day for today. Hopefully next time my computer will decide to stream just fine. And again, if you like what you hear here, please go ahead and follow me. I'm on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, where else? YouTube as well. I stream to those platforms too. So you can follow me there. I've got my blogs. I got you're on Twitch, I've got all that stuff down here, right? Anybody? Last minute thoughts? Going once? Going twice? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that. Have a great week. And again, I'll be streaming on Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Just me and you, let's make up all the rules. Count to 10 and watch the stars turn blue. Watch the stars. We're all dreamers in our own way, trying to find